Hi, everybody. This is John, and I wanted to do something a little different today, and I thought I would have some fun. Uh, last week I was reading an article on SportsIllustrated.com or SI.com about the resurgence of baseball cards and how the hobby is making a comeback, partly because of what they call breakers. These people who have online videos about them opening packs of baseball cards, previously opened packs, and I guess it's a big thing right now. It's getting quite a following. I have no intention of doing that, but I thought I would just kind of look around at some cards. I've been collecting baseball cards basically my whole life, and as the hobby changed in the '90s with Upper Deck and so many different fancy subsets and full color photos on the back of these different cards. It got away from just the basic plain cardboard of yesteryear. Just something simple like this. This is an 89 Topps, where, nothing fancy or flashy, just lots of stats on the back, nothing fancy. And those are the cards that I grew up with. So the industry really got away from that, and it still has, really. I know there are a lot of heritage cards and that sort of thing these days. Emulating the old styles, but the industry in the late 90s took a big downturn. Kids just weren't collecting anymore. Some of the companies like Fleer and Donruss got out of the card business or may have gone out of business altogether. But it has made, the industry itself has made a big comeback recently, and I think a lot of that is going to be nostalgia. People my age, I'm 40. But also hopefully some younger kids getting back into it as well. What I thought I would do is I bought one of these 100 card packs from Walgreens. And I know they sell these at Walgreens, Rite Aid, CVS, and this is how they come. They show up in just random jumbo box sets of 100. It says 1 in 4 contains a hit. I guess that depends on what you consider to be a hit. I'm going to go ahead and open up one of these just to see. This box here for 100 cards cost me $4.99, so $5. I saw the same set, basically the same box, same packaging on sale at CVS for $8.99, so they're obviously marking that up. Thought I would open this and see if it's really worth, the $5 investment. Can't be all that bad, because I have opened a few of these before, and one thing that I will say is that the condition of the cards is much better than I ever thought they would be. I thought these would be just some cards that somebody maybe found in some junk drawer somewhere, maybe beat up. And that's not the case. When I've bought these in the past, they have been in pretty decent condition. Most of them are going to be, 80s, late 80s, early 90s cards. There are some more modern cards stuck in here, so you will find current day stars like a Manny Machado or a Mike Trout or somebody like that. I think I found a Bellinger last time I opened up one of these. And then you get a lot of these throwback cards. This is from a different pack that I got. This is a Roberto Clemente, obviously throwback in the style of a 94 Topps. I don't know if it's worth anything, but it's kind of cool because I'll be honest, I don't have any Roberto Clemente cards. I started collecting in 1986. So, kind of a cool thing to have. I don't think it's probably worth anything, but kind of fun. This is another one that I picked up in a recent set. This is a Travis Lee 1998, and I believe it's a Topps Finest. And what's weird about this one, you can maybe see it's covered in some sort of reflective protection. You have to peel off. And it's also on a very thick cardstock. I mean, much thicker than a normal baseball card would be. It's heavy. It's different. You can tell this is really intended to be something special. Now, probably not a lot of people outside of Arizona interested in Travis Lee cards these days. But I thought this was kind of cool just to see the difference, the weight, the peel-off protector on the front. I'm going to leave it peeled because it's probably worth more that way, but I mean, like I said, outside of Arizona, it's probably not worth a whole lot. So let's see what I got in this pack that I opened today. First of all of these come with a an unsealed pack. So this one is a 2019 opening day Topps MLB set. Probably not going to open that one. I'll save that for another day. But that's the unopened pack that it came with. Let's go ahead and take a look. I'm going to go through a few of these. And you notice as I open these, they kind of come in clusters. You can tell in here this stripe. These are obviously going to be some older cards. Let's actually start with those. Let's open up to where that stripe is. Because these, I think, are going to be the late 80s, early 90s cards that I was talking about earlier. There's some probably going to be some fun stuff in there. And by the way, if anybody sees something here that you absolutely have to have, go ahead and hit me up. By and large, I'm not going to be keeping too many of these, other than in a box somewhere. I'll probably keep it in one of these. So if there is something that you have to have, go ahead and let me know. And I'll see if there's anything fun in here. Here's a Reggie Smith, first base with the Giants. You know, most people think of him with the Dodgers, but okay. Frank White, long-time second baseman for the Royals. This is a 83 Topps, so Kansas City fans would be interested in that. Phillies, Larry Bowa, long-time shortstop. This is a 78. Topps 78, Larry Bowa. The 86 set has always been my favorite. These two here, never mind who the players are, but just the ugly font at the top, I've always been into that. And since I was a kid, this was always my favorite set. The fact that you have the little circle with the player's position at the bottom, where, Scott Garreltsi's a pitcher, Frank Will's also a pitcher, but that little inset where they list the player's position, I always thought that was cool. And then also on the back, this ugly red, this just disgusting red cardboard color that they came up with. Most Topps sets are not that garish. I mean, here's that Reggie Smith that I was looking at. It's not nearly as bad on the eyes. But this one, the 86 set, it is just so over the top ugly on the back. They have little fun little factoids, sure, but something about that set has always been just appealing to me, and ever since I was a kid, I have loved those. Here's some old Bowman cards. This is probably 89, 90. Yeah, 91. 91 Bowman. Here's Mike Scott with the Astros, probably his last decent year with them. Patrick Lennon with the Mariners. I think people used to think he was really onto something and didn't turn out that way. That's the beauty of these baseball cards. Some of these people really turn out to be special. Others, not so much. Here's Jack Clark listed as an outfielder with the Giants back when he was an outfielder. Of course, he became well known as a first baseman for the Cardinals, the Padres, the Yankees later in his career. The most famous thing about Jack Clark here in San Diego is that he was about the only person who was ever dumb enough to speak out in public about Tony Gwynn in a negative way. So that pretty much, and that would have been 89, maybe 90, made him pretty much unwelcome around here. So turned fans against him. So he found himself out of town quickly. You don't speak badly of Tony Gwynn in San Diego. Speaking of San Diego, here's George Hendrick. He only spent, I think, maybe 2 years here. Good power hitter, though. Played a lot of good years, I believe, with the Cardinals. The Count, John Montefusco. The Count of Montefusco. Also spent some time in San Diego. Cubs catcher Steve Swisher. This guy, Cardinals second baseman Mike Tyson. That is just a great name. What can I say? Feel bad for the guy having that name, because nobody's going to remember Mike Tyson, the infielder. Everybody's going to remember Mike Tyson, the boxer. Chuck Finley for the Angels back when he was dominant. This is an 86 Topps, 87 top, or no, 87 Fleer. I'm sorry, I'm getting all mixed up here. 87 Fleer. And Chuck Finley, this is his rookie card. He was one of the finest pitchers in Angels history, no question about that. Gino Tonacci, Gene Tennis, playing for the Padres. That's an early Donruss, 81 Donruss. I have, I believe, every Padres card ever made between, say, 1969 and probably about 92. So, and then my goal is to have every Padres card ever made. I'm sure I have that one already somewhere. Skip a few of these. David Valley with the Mariners. The one thing I remember about David Valley is that there used to be a bar in Seattle that would base their price of a pint of beer or a pitcher of beer based on his batting average, and it was never very high. So I think for whatever he was hitting that year, maybe, okay, 237 in 1989. He hit 237. So for 237, you could go into this bar and get a beer. So here's another one of these really thick cardstock things. This Topps Finest that I was telling you about earlier with the Travis Lee. Here's another one for Pat Henkin of the Toronto Blue Jays. Again, it's got that foil wrapping, ultra shiny, unwrapped, heavy cardstock. Pat Henkin, again, probably not going to be worth much a lot outside of Toronto, but you never know. And then here's an early Fleer, 83, Ron Hassey with the Cleveland Indians. So this is what you get in these packs. I mean, I will say that all of these cards are in really good shape comparatively. I expected these when I first opened them to be, crinkled and wore down on the corners, and that hasn't been the case. Mookie Wilson with the 88 Mets, of course. Everybody knows him from the ground ball that went through Buckner's legs. Casey Candaele for the Montreal Expos. His biggest claim to fame, he was an infielder for a while, had some good years in Montreal, but his biggest claim to fame is that his mother played professional baseball for the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League and was a consultant in the movie A League of Their Own, the Tom Hanks, Geena Davis movie that came out in, I want to say, 92. Casey Candaele and his mother were both heavily involved in the making of that film. This, I don't even know what this is. Here's just a general card of Barry Larkin. Doesn't say anything on the back. There's no brand name, no logos. It just says Barry Larkin, Series 1, card number 8. I don't know what to tell you. If anybody has any ideas, go ahead and hit me up in the comments. Let me know what that is. I don't know what it is. Mickey Morandini for the Phillies, back when he was supposed to be the next big thing. Here we go. Kevin Brown for the Texas Rangers. This is a 92 Fleer. Kevin Brown was, of course, the pitcher who took the San Diego Padres to the World Series in 98 and the Florida Marlins to the World Series in 97, the year before that. Won it all with the Marlins in 97. While he is fondly remembered for his run in San Diego in 1998, he will never be forgiven for the way that he left, because he had a one-year deal with the Padres in 98, took him to the World Series, and then left the team as a free agent. He said he wanted to be closer to his kids, closer to his home in Georgia, which I get that, but he signed with the Dodgers. Signing in Los Angeles does not get you any closer to Georgia, and so it was pretty obviously just a money grab, and we here in San Diego, we will never forget that, so there's no forgiving, no appreciation for Kevin Brown, no love lost here. Skipping some of these, because you did get a lot of common players in these, and some of these are kind of fun. Here's a Cubs 88 Topps Andre Dawson. Andre Dawson, about the only player who ever won an MVP award. Actually, this would have been the year after that. Yeah. His first year with the Cubs, 87, he won an MVP award for a last-place team. That does not happen, ever. So, yeah, he played for the Cubs, went on to the Marlins for a couple of years, and a very forgettable stint with the Boston Red Sox. Here is Ellis Burks before he went to Colorado and enjoyed the thin air of Denver. Let's see, who we got? Willie Blair. This is a pitcher for the Rockies, and the thing I remember about Willie Blair is that I just seem to get a Willie Blair card in every pack. I think it was the 91 Topps set, maybe 92, but in every pack it seemed like I would get a Willie Blair, and he wasn't that big of a player. I just think they made probably, more of his cards than anybody else, and they were just trying to get rid of him, maybe. Let's see here. What else do I have? Mike Flanagan, pitcher for the Orioles for a long time. Let's see. Tigers, Johnny Walkenfuss, catcher, first base, outfielder. This is an 85 tops, 84. Johnny Walkenfuss. I don't have anything to say about him. I just love that name. That is a great baseball name, Johnny Walkenfuss. So there you go. Here's a early Mike Scioscia for Dodger fans out there, or Angels fans. You know, he made his big name as a catcher for the Dodgers, which he did very well through all the 80s and into the 90s. And then upon his retirement, he would have made a very good Dodgers manager, but he ended up with the Angels. And that's just how it goes. That's how it ended up with him. Now we're starting to see some of the newer cards. Here is a Panini Prism of Matt Adams for the St. Louis Cardinals. Comparatively, this is the newest card in the whole set. Look at the shine on that. I'll be honest with you. Look at how it reflects. Yikes. Oh my goodness. This, I'll be honest with you, this is one reason why I did not enjoy baseball cards for much of the 2000s. Yeah, this is a 2015 Panini. Boy, I'm sorry, not a good-looking card. I don't think so. That doesn't work for me. So, here's another one. Here's a Hunter Pence, even worse, right? Yeah, if you didn't like the Giants in the 2010s when they were winning all those World Series, you were not a fan of Hunter Pence. Hunter Pence got to be a mini internet meme. I don't know if it was just among Padres fans or anywhere else, but they started making all these Hunter Pence signs and memes, which were kind of the opposite of Chuck Norris, like things like Hunter Pence eats his pizza with a fork, that sort of thing. Just really emasculating things, and it got to be funny. It's like the anti-Chuck Norris. So I think that's what I will always remember Hunter Pence for. Yeah, I got a bunch of these ultra shiny Panini Prism cards. Here's a rookie pitcher Chris Jenkins from the Toronto Blue Jays. Never heard of him, but apparently his future is bright, according to this card. Oh my goodness. Torrey Hunter. Okay, was this with the... This was while he was in Detroit. Okay. Obviously, Torrey Hunter was well known for his years in Minnesota with the Twins and was a very good player there. But, yeah, Tigers added Torrey Hunter to the roster prior to the 2013 season. I don't think he did as much there for long. He'll always be remembered as a Minnesota Twin. Now we're getting into some more recent tops here. This is an Joe Jimenez from 2018 tops, which the recent tops, they all kind of look the same. I mean, there's not much variance in the design. Fun, though. I mean, I see where Topps is going with their designs overall, and they're trying to get back, I think, to basics. I'm always in favor of that. Shiny card. Pass. Let's see. Salvador Perez for the Kansas City Royals. This is a 2017. So compare that to the 2018 design. You can see there's not a lot of difference. They're kind of going for the same basic structure. Basically, the logo looks the same. There's going to be some kind of design. This one's a crisscross. This one's sort of a wavy thing. But not much difference in between the two cards. Salvador Perez, of course, one of the big World Series heroes for the Kansas City Royals when they won it all in 2015. Skip over some of these. I like these. You don't see these a lot anymore, I don't think, but here's one of just the ballpark. Here's Guaranteed Rate Field in Chicago. You can put it on the board, yes. Southsiders, White Sox. This has the White Sox starting lineup for the 2018 season, commemorating their 62-100 record, fourth place in the American League Central. Not a good year, but you can tell the White Sox are going places. Yeah, let's see. Yoan Moncada, obviously. They had Yonder Alonso as a DH that year. Jose Abreu at first base. John Jay in right field. So, some talent on the way up through the White Sox system, and I think the best is yet to come as far as they're concerned. There is a lot of young talent on that team, but I like it when you get just the ballpark as a card or just the manager as a card. Here's another one, Comerica Park for the Detroit Tigers. Same year, you can see, same design as the previous Chicago White Sox card. This is the equivalent. Detroit Tigers, same division, and managed to finish third with a 64-98 record. AL Central, has been very weak lately comparatively to the other divisions. But yeah, looking at this Detroit Tigers lineup, and outside of Miguel Cabrera, there's a lot of forgettable names here. Tyson Ross in the starting rotation, okay. Didn't even know that. Matthew Boyd, Michael Fulmer, Jordan Zimmerman, Tyson Ross, and Matt Moore. Well, the rotation sounds decent anyway, but obviously that lineup has a lot lacking. What else do we have here? Here is a Bring It In, Stat Leaders Hug It Out in postseason. Okay, so this is commemorating the 2018 postseason, Colorado versus Chicago. I'm not even showing you the card. Kind of fun when they commemorate the postseason. This is just a basic Topps card from 2018, or 2019 Topps, I should say. So I can see where Topps is, they're really trying to get back to basics. Here are some more ordinary cards. This is a Rick Porcello. Here we have Eddie Rosario. These are all the 2019 Topps. So it's a good looking set overall. And I'm surprised to have that many of them in this giveaway pack. This never happens. I have two of the same card right next to each other. Two Alex Gordons in the same pack right next to each other. So I used to call that getting a double. But never back to back like that. I mean, if you could, back in the day, back in the 80s, if you got a couple of packs, you might get a double, one in each pack. I mentioned Willie Blair earlier. It seemed like I was always getting Willie Blair cards. Alex Gordon, twice in the same pack, two in a row. That's weird. Francisco Lindor. We've got a lot of these. 2019. I think whoever was putting this pack together just grabbed a pack or two of the 2019 Topps. It's weird to have such a long run of these, but I've got, here they are over and over. Corey Kluber, that's a good one. Francisco Lindor. Nick Ahmed. Charlie Blackmon for the Colorado Rockies. You know, I really stopped collecting about probably 92, 93, so to me seeing the Rockies in a collection is still a novelty because they didn't exist when I was a kid. Same thing with the Rays and the Diamondbacks, the Marlins, so it's still to me a bit of a novelty seeing some of those more recent expansion teams. The Nationals, I still like getting, you know, Montreal Expos cards. I think here's Danny Duffy. I think that's it for the 2019 Topps. That was quite a run, a lot of those. You don't normally see that in these 100 packs, but something different anyway. Speaking of something different, here is a Panini Cooperstown card. Luke Appling, Hall of Famer for the White Sox, I believe. God, when did he even play? Yeah, 1936 Chicago. Yeah, I knew he was with the White Sox. I would have had to look it up exactly when. I don't know much about for a Hall of Famer. I mean, this guy is not well known today, I don't think, outside of south side of Chicago. Kind of cool, though. Okay, Cooperstown, inducted 1964, so that's what that is. This card obviously is not that old. This is more of a recent card. I want to say probably, yeah, copyright 2012. So this is a Panini card. Yeah, played from 1930 to 1960, I guess. No, that's a 30-year career. That would have been too long. Born April 2nd, 1907. There's something you don't see on a baseball card every day. Born 1907. Anyways, looks like they put together a Hall of Fame set. Kind of a fun card. You never know. Never know what you might find. Sometimes you can find a real treasure in here. They say in those sets, 1 out of every 4 gets a real hit, they say. Depends on your definition. Here we have a shiny Joe Panik. This is not the... Oh, this is a Panini card. Okay, so this is Elite Mookie Betts with the Red Sox. We'll see if he ever plays a game with the Dodgers. Hopefully not. That's a 2014 Mookie Betts, 2014 Joe Panik, the two shiny cards. Yeah, knowing that I hate the Dodgers, I think it would be hilarious if they signed Mookie Betts, or trade the farm for him, rather. Traded the farm for Mookie Betts, and he may never appear in a game for the Dodgers, so that would be pretty funny, if you ask me. Oh, boy. You really can find... You never know what you're going to find. It's like Forrest Gump's box of chocolates. Here is a... This guy's notorious. 2002 Topps of John Rocker. John Rocker in the 90s was a tremendous closer for the Braves, racking up saves, But boy, oh boy, did he shoot himself in the foot. He gave a pretty inflammatory, pretty racist interview to, I think, Sports Illustrated. And that pretty much derailed his career. I mean, he said some very stupid things about riding the subway in New York. I don't remember that he played for the Indians. I don't remember that he played for the Rangers. But there he is. This is a 2002 Topps. Probably one of his last cards, I'm guessing, because he fell off the face of the earth, and probably deservedly so. So, anyways, so you never know what you might find. Here's a Edwin Encarnacion with the Toronto Blue Jays. Phil Hughes with Minnesota. Again, if anybody sees something that you absolutely have to have, go ahead and let me know. I'll be happy to look it up for you or send it to you through the mail. Here we have some Score, 1988. I always thought this was an attractive set. The 88 Score, very colorful. I got 3 in a row here. We got Willie McGee for the Cardinals. We got Darrell Ackerfelds. Boy, Darrell Ackerfelds. I know you probably don't know the name. Rookie prospect, 1988. Darrell Ackerfelds, here he is with the Indians. I know he played with the Phillies for a while. Sad story on this guy. He was a bullpen coach for the San Diego Padres for well over 10 years. I want to say something like 14 years maybe with the bullpen coach for the San Diego Padres, and died of cancer, pancreatic cancer maybe, but universally loved by the San Diego Padres organization. As a player, didn't do much. He was up and down from the minors for a couple of seasons, never really accomplished anything big in the major leagues, but did enough that he got hired as a coach and was absolutely beloved by anybody who came through the Padres bullpen. And I think to this day, there is a plaque in his honor. So Darrell Ackerfelds, I know that card is probably not worth much. It certainly wasn't significant at the time, but what a sad story that turned out to be. That's one of the nice things about baseball cards. I mean, you preserve a guy's memory like that. And then here's one more I had is Paul O'Neill with the Reds back before he sold his soul and went to the Yankees. Just a couple more left. I've only got, that was out of 100 cards, I've only got maybe 10 left here. Here's another Willie McGee. So if anybody is a Willie McGee fan, I've got a couple of Willie McGee cards for you here. Again, hit me up if you want any of these. I'll be happy to package them together, send them off your way. Pirates catcher Junior Ortiz. I remember him with the Expos. Not a lot of guys running around named Junior these days. Marty Barrett with the Red Sox. Came over to the Padres for a short time. Didn't do much here. Terry Mulholland. I remember him from the no-hitter. I think he had a 1991. I think he had either a no-hitter or a combined no-hitter. This would have been just before that. This is a 1990 Score. I think he did it by himself, but that might have been a combined no-hitter. It might have been even with the Giants at the time. Luis Polonia with the Angels. Gary Carter. Talk about a guy with a sad story. This, and again, universally beloved, just like Darrell Ackerfelds. Everybody who ran into Gary Carter loved him. This is obviously one of his last cards because, seeing him stumble around with the Giants at the end of his career, and then he ended up retiring as an Expo. He had his best years with the Expos and the Mets. I think most people rightfully remember him as an Expo. He should have gone into the Hall of Fame as an Expo. I'm pretty sure he did. But again, cancer sucks, and we lost him way too early. What a jovial guy, and really one of my favorite players who never played for my team. Guys like Nolan Ryan, Ken Griffey Jr., Gary Carter, guys with those personalities, larger than life. Gary Carter was one of those. Just a couple more here. Actually, okay, I'm going to skip a couple of these. Gerald Clark, this is a guy who I always admired. Coming up with the Padres, Gerald Clark, lists him as a first baseman, which I suppose is true. I know he spent a lot of time in the outfield also. I always felt like this was untapped potential. He came up with the Padres for the 89, 90, 91 seasons and really was a bench player. Didn't get a lot of time in the league. And I don't know how much of this is true because I remember him having some decent power and being reliable. It seemed like he was always getting on base. In the minor leagues, he was always getting on base. He spent some time in Colorado, with the expansion Colorado Rockies. They actually picked him and Bruce Hurst from the expansion draft. I don't know how much of Gerald Clark that I remember is true, is legend, because one thing that I will tell you about Gerald Clark is that in the video game, RBI Baseball 2 or 3, probably 3, for the old NES gaming system. Remember I'm talking about the original NES. Gerald Clark was on the San Diego Padres roster, had to be the '89 team, and he would tear it up. If you put Gerald Clark in the lineup, he'd be hitting home runs all the time. They way over exaggerated his actual talent for the game. I think they expected him to be, whoever was programming the game, probably expected him to be better than he was. And like I said, he didn't really get much of an opportunity. Here he is in 1990. He played 52 games, 101 at-bats, so, maybe 2 at-bats per game, if that. Used him a lot as a pinch hitter. Hit 5 home runs. Who knows? I don't think he ever got 500 plate appearances in a year. Would have been interesting to see if he could have made that transition into a full-time player. But I always liked Gerald Clark, that 1989 Padres team. I think had the wild card existed, probably could have gone all the way. And then finally, the last card here is Trevor Williams. This is another Panini card. You never know what you might get. Again, this is not a normal, per se, baseball card. This is a Team USA Olympic. Not that they were playing Olympic baseball back then. This is more of a World Baseball Classic kind of thing. But Trevor Williams, pitcher for the collegiate national team, went to Arizona State University, like the San Diego Padres and the Boston Red Sox growing up. Who was your favorite player? Ken Caminiti. Well, kid's got good taste. So, anyways, okay, overall, that set from the, I just dropped his card. Sorry, Trevor Williams. Overall, that set of 100 cards from the Walgreens, not a bad set. I mean, looking at the quality of the cards in here, these are all basically mint condition, so you can't complain about bent corners or wear and tear, no water stains. Nobody's been drawing on these cards. Nobody's been putting them in their bicycle spokes, nothing like that. So overall, you got, I didn't count them, but I'm going to assume you got close to 100 pretty good condition baseball cards. Some prizes in there, some surprises. Nothing really overly valuable, no autographs or anything like that, but really got a good selection. And I mean, the oldest card I've got here was probably that Larry Boa. That would have been 78. And the newest, obviously, were those 2019s. I mean, this is May of 2020, so that's going to be a pretty new card. So overall, if you want to have some fun, this is very different from the 1980s wax packs with top that you can get for 50 cents. But if you want to blow $5 on baseball cards at the Walgreens, you could do a whole lot worse. This is not bad. This is not a bad set by any means. So, again, if anybody wants any of those cards, hit me up, let me know. Maybe I'll open this one at some other point, but I think that's about it. Thank you very much for tuning in. And again, I'm not planning to be a baseball card breaker. I'll leave that to the professionals, but let me know if you enjoyed this. Maybe we'll do it again. Bye-bye.